Today, we're going to go over a project that I'm very excited about. It's one I've been invested in for many years and has a very bright future. Unfortunately, it's kind of pushed by the World Economic Forum. So we'll talk a little bit about why and what it does here. It's actually not blockchain technology. It's actually Hashgraph technology. But it's something that's very important to the future of this world and where they're looking to go. It's called HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, and we're going to dive into exactly what it does here. All right, what is HBAR? HBAR is the native cryptocurrency for the Hedera Hashgraph network, which is next generation public distributed ledger. As I said, it's not blockchain. Instead, what it uses is Hashgraph consensus algorithm. It's a fuel that powers the transactions, the smart contracts, the NFTs, and the DeFi operations on their apps on the Hedera Hashgraph network. The governance and staking token that secures the network through the proof of stake consensus. Again, I have not staked Hedera. I don't know how it pays or if it's worthwhile doing, but it is not something you mind. It is a proof of stake. And let's get into a little bit about what the whole purpose of it is and kind of how it works. So the distributed consensus algorithm, which was invented by Dr. Lehman Bard, co-founder of Hedera, it's fundamentally different from blockchain on how it reaches agreement across nodes. So the whole concept is gossip about gossip. So every node randomly shares information, which is transactions, plus the history of transactions with another node. These nodes gossip. Information goes across the network extremely rapidly, similar to news, how it's spread on social media, whether it be YouTube, TikToks, Twitter really probably being the best use case for it there. Each message also contains a record of who it heard from last. That's the gossip about gossip, which allows the system to build a perfect map of transaction history. This also allows for virtual voting because each node knows the entire history. They can mathematically determine how others would vote on a transaction, meaning no actual voting message needs to go out or be sent. This drastically cuts off network traffic and boosts speed efficiency. And this is how much quicker. So in traditional blockchain technology, you have anywhere from 10 to 1,000 transactions per second. So those transactions take anywhere from seconds to minutes, depending on what blockchain. Bitcoin, for instance, takes about 15 minutes for a transaction. Ethereum as well, the very slow, older blockchains. Digibyte, just a few seconds. That's a very quick one. You go to Hashgraph technology and you got up to 10,000 transactions per second and a sub 5-second finality. So that's extremely low and extremely quick. So it does have a lot of advantages as far as speed and cost. The cost is going to be very inexpensive. Your cost for Bitcoin is not too expensive, but you do have a cost for it. Your cost of Ethereum, the gas fees can be extremely high. And that's been Ethereum's issue since its entire existence. So miners can influence ordering fair timestamping, ensures order integrity. So it's highly scalable for Hedera Hashgraph, where in blockchain, it's more limited. The whole point of Hashgraph technology was made for these commercial transactions. So what Hedera essentially wants to do is be able to tokenize real estate. And when I say real estate, not necessarily single family, although they'll probably do that as well. Mostly REITs, commercial buildings, even things like your car, your iPhone. They want to tokenize everything. They want to be one of the big tokenization, real world asset, not blockchain, cryptos out there. So a friend of mine, Alex Otwell, and he has an oil and gas well company called One World Petroleum. And he actually was he's the first oil and gas company to basically essentially tokenize their company on Hedera. So he did it partly on Hedera through Zonix, which is a layer 2, I believe, on Hedera Hashgraph, and some on XRP's blockchain, Ripple. So I guess he's kind of testing out to see which one's which, and he sold roughly about, I believe 25% of the company is tokenized, not the entire company, but about 25% of it is tokenized. So he's leading the whole oil and gas industry out there, which is run by older men, older dinosaurs out there. So he's ahead of the use case here. It's going to be very interesting to see how he does. He doesn't even realize what he did. He doesn't understand cryptos that well, but he knew getting ahead of the curve here would give him some basically give them some media attention and put them on a radar for potentially getting other investors. But what it really does is allow other people to invest really easily and cheaply. So it's pretty smart of him to do this. And I think a lot more people are going to be utilizing and doing these types of things. So Hedera, how it's positioning itself is our enterprise-grade distributed ledger technology for real-world applications. As I was saying, they want to tokenize everything, all real-world assets, real estate, carbon credits, one of the big ones they want to do, supply chain assets, and they're going to take micropayments because it's so inexpensive and so quick with transactions. They're going to be very easy and cheap to do. So it's going to be great for taxation. With the carbon credits, basically, is a taxation there. Decentralized identity, verifiable credentials, and authentication for ID systems. So it's going to be much more secure that way. Again, we talked about the carbon offsets and ESG tracking. Companies like ServiceNow and IBM use Hedera to record carbon credits and supply chain emissions for transparency. Now, IBM has been around for forever, and it has changed. That business has changed time over time and still stays around. It's one impressive company. But what it has focused on more recently over the past 8 years or so, 10 years, is blockchain technology. It's essentially a blockchain company at this point. So one of the other things Hedera does here, Web3 gaming and NFTs, obviously NFTs is the tokenization of assets, but gaming, they want to be a big part of Web3 as well. The DAOs, DAOs, which is decentralized autonomous organization and token governance. Projects can use HBAR for DAO treasury management, on-chain voting, and community rewards, similar to Ethereum's DAOs, but cheaper and faster. And that's going to give them a big advantage here. It's going to ultimately, there's a lot of competitors to Ethereum in a lot of ways. HBAR is only a minor competitor to them here, but they're still going to be a major competitor to a lot of other companies out there who are looking to steal market share as far as NFTs and Web3. That's pretty much the summary of it here. I'm going to hit down here. It's obviously a proof of stake. Here's what I don't like about it. 39-member enterprise council. To me, this is a very centralized company, not a decentralized company, which is why I do not like it as much as I like Tau, BitTensor. So their focus area is going to be on tokenization, payments, sustainability, and enterprise apps. Sustainability, I hate that word. Future vision to become the foundation of the enterprise-grade Web3 infrastructure. So they want to be one of the top ones out there. They have other competitors out there like Theta was really the initial one out there in the whole Web3, and they're way ahead, I believe, of HBAR in that factor here. And we'll see, who ultimately wins that battle. It's kind of like you go back to the 80s for the people who are old enough to remember, Gen Xers and older. You have Betamax and you have VHS. Which one's going to win? Well, ultimately, VHS won. Betamax went away. Now VHS is gone, and we download everything. So everything eventually goes away. So pretty interesting, what HBAR is, what it does. It's got a bright future. They are going to get involved with 15-minute cities, like Boston is a sample 15-minute city out there where you can literally just order something, not now, but for the future, and get it within 15 minutes. Even parts for a vehicle, they can be 3D printed and created and made and delivered in a very short period of time. They call it 15-minute cities, but it's essentially not going to be 15 minutes, but they're going to hopefully have enough in stock where you'll be able to get your product pretty quickly and get it delivered to you pretty quickly. Not something I want to be a part of. I'm not a big city guy. Like, I'd rather live in a neighborhood. So it wouldn't be a 15-minute city for me. And that is what it is. Anyway, that's the future. Hedera is going to be big. HBAR is going to be very big. Its all-time high was 57 cents. And right now it's about 15.5 cents. And I expect it to go, break its all-time high this year. Well, not necessarily in 2025 here, but it's sometime in early 2026, and could exceed $1 or $1.50 even as this project gains steam and popularity out there. All right, guys, hopefully you got something out of this video. If you did, make sure you click the like button, subscribe to the channel, catch you in the next video.